I am Valérie Jumessi and I am a French entrepreneur. I'm based in Paris. My parents are Cameroonian. I'm the artistic director of our family business, which is called Upgrade Agency. And I am also a consultant in image and a creativity coach. I co-host a podcast with my three sisters and my mother. It is called Les Jums Podcast. I have always been fascinated by the human potential. For me, it is so important to, as a woman and as a man, to be able to realize our dreams. So welcome in mine. It's Amulet Podcast. It's a 10-minute bubble of courage in French and in English, where I will be talking everything vulnerability, authenticity, and freedom. So make yourself comfortable. Welcome in my dream. This is Amulet Podcast. Hello, and welcome in this new episode of Amulet Podcast. I am Valerie, and for the next minutes, I will be your host. I am really glad to have your attention. And today, I've been inspired by one of my favorite shows, which is called Insecure, and who's airing on HBO, if I'm not wrong. In France, you can see it on OCS. Insecure is one of my favorite shows, and Issa I've been following her for a long time. Ever since Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, I've been loving what she's been doing because she has a way to make being awkward okay, and I really love it. Plus, the music is amazing, the outfits are bomb, everything is so good in this show, and yeah, I'm just a big fan of it. Today, I wanted to explore and to talk to you about what I've learned through this season of Insecure. And especially, I want to have a focus on Issa and Molly's relationship, which is, I think, the main friendship in the show. So Issa and Molly are best friends, and I will say that they are sisters, actually. They love each other so deeply, it hurts sometimes. And I want to explore how it hurts and how you can maybe take advantage of a situation, as we can see in the show, and see what you can change in your own relationship in order to improve them and make them last longer and not hurt that much. First of all, so I say, Issa and Molly, they love each other, they are sisters, blah, 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 blah. But there are so many things that they are not doing right, and sometimes it's so annoying to see that on the TV because, of course, I'm outside of the show. I am not one of the characters, so of course I can criticize because I know better, but I don't know better, because sometimes I just feel like the things that they are doing are the things that a lot of people are doing in their relationship. Misunderstanding and not having the time or the space to have crucial conversation. Basically, the shit that is going on between Issa and Molly is based on the fact that there are a lot of miscommunication, and also the fact that they don't take the time sometimes to have hard conversation in order to clean the relationship and not to build a relationship based on a lot of anger and resentment.
I was crashing at Daniels. You should have just stayed with me.
Nah, girl. Remember that week I stayed with you back in 05?
You just gonna act like you didn't break my
I
base?
didn't do shit to your base.
They never take that time. And I understand crucial conversations are tough, and it's a skill to have them. It's a skill not to say the stuff that is gonna make the conversation jump into another planet of anger and hurt. But there are ways to get good at that. There are ways to be able to be open enough to listen to the person in front of you, so you're not trying to just respond, but you're trying to understand where that person comes from. Because the most important thing is not about you winning, it's about the relationship to move forward. And I honestly think that having sometimes argument is a good thing in a relationship. I think it's the time where you finally put like maybe boundaries and rules in order to make sure that you both can be happy in this relationship.
That's not the point, Issa. You deliberately went behind my back. I mean, I was very clear about how I felt, but I guess what? That didn't mean anything to you?
Because, Molly, you were willing to let me fail? Over what? Some random rule you made up?
It wasn't random. I was setting boundaries.
Whatever kind of relationship we are talking about. It can be friendship, it can be sisterhood, brotherhood, partnership, anything. So Issa and Molly, they don't do that. And most of the time, they just keep on having feelings of hurt because they have like this tendency of keep it real, and I put quote unquote around that because I think that's a scam to do that. And then they just don't have that place and space where they can be safe and say, okay, you know what happened this time, it really hurt me. When you say that, it hurt me. You are my girl, you are my person. And when you do that, it hurts my feeling. And the person can then apologize. So the first advice that I can give to you, make sure that if, let's say, something is going down in your relationship, give yourself like 24 hours, 48 hours max in order to maybe digest everything and then to take the time and the courage to go and talk to that person. For me, it's something that you have to do in partnership. So you can definitely create rules within your relationships. I actually think it's a pretty healthy thing to do. And any kind of relationship, what are the rules, what are the boundaries? You can say, okay girl, okay Issa, let's say that next time one of us do something wrong or something that hurts the other person, we have 24 to 48 hours to come forward and to express our feelings so we can clean that and maybe grow stronger and grow more aware of the sensitivity of the person. Once you did that, it's great, but it's not over yet. Like, your work is not over. You need to be able to understand that the most important is not about winning. It's about, I will say, saving the relationship or at least make it grow. So if you are all up in your ego and trying to make sure that your point is understood and that you are the one who's right, because of course you're always right, then you are in big, big trouble. What is the most important thing for you? What do you want to come out of this argument, of this misunderstanding? You want the relationship to thrive? Then put your ego aside and maybe focus on how you can make sure that the relationship is at the center of what you want to do. And also make sure that you are coming from a place of love and not a place of fear. Because we saw that a lot on Issa and Molly's relationships. Sometimes they are so afraid, first of all, I think, to lose each other. I think that's the main thing, because it's really grounded in love, but they don't know how to express it. So they are afraid to lose each other. They are afraid to say they are sorry. They are afraid to say that they've been hurt. They are afraid to be judged.
Has Molly said something to you about what? She's been on my neck lately.
You tell me if she was ugly, right?
So many fears. If you are driven by fear, then you're going right into disaster. So make sure, ask yourself, when you are in a situation, so you say, okay, we're going to have to talk about this. Where are you coming from? Are you coming from love or are you coming from fear? And what's the most important thing for you? To be right or to save and have a relationship with that person? Once you have that in mind, then you can also think about something that I think is really important, and you can see that in Molly and Issa relationship. So they always say, oh, I just want to keep it real to you. Like, okay, I'm your girl, I'm your sister, I'm the one who will always tell you the truth, quote unquote the truth, because what is the truth though? But most of the time it's just an introduction to be hard and harsh and have hurtful feelings and words.
Bitch, do you hear yourself? Nobody has more drama than you, Issa. Okay, you need to figure out your shit and stop using people. You use Nathan, Andrew, me, who else?
And I think you can keep things real. Of course, it's important. I think you can be honest with your friends because that's a space where you can do that. But it doesn't mean that you have to be harsh. It doesn't mean that you don't have to make sure that you be careful about what you're saying. Because those words that you're using to be quote unquote real are hurting the person in front of you. And okay, they will maybe not gonna say it at the beginning, but after, the resentment is gonna build up and they're gonna go passive aggressive full mode onto you when your times come. Well, they are the queen of judgments.
See? You are so miserable. If things don't work out with Andrew, it's not gonna be because of me, girl.
Fuck you.
So no one is perfect. Stop judging your friend, trying to be there for them. And if they ask you advice, give them advice, but don't come with advice acting like you know everything they need to do when you don't even know what you need to do in your own life. And Issa and Molly's are doing that all the time. They are always blaming each other and always saying, oh, Issa, yeah, of course she's doing this. She's messy. She's using people. And Molly, of course, yeah, she's a mess. Wow. it's hard, guys. It's really hard. And of course, they're hurting. Oh, I forgot to tell you that maybe there is a spoiler alert in this podcast. I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have maybe mentioned that, but we already have a way, so I guess you understood that. So, yeah, just honesty is different from being brutal, I think. So, trying to find the right balance. And if you don't have it, because of course we all have different sensitivities, you can talk about it. Okay, if I say that, is it hurting you? Oh, it's too much for you? Okay, I will just adjust the way I talk to you, because it's not about, oh, I'm a be me. No, like, this is ridiculous to say that. We are human, so we do adapt. And if you want to have a nice relationship, it means that at some point you have to adapt a little bit. It doesn't mean that you're going to transform yourself completely, but if something that you're doing is hurting the person you love, then you just have to adapt yourself. I don't think it's not costing you a lot of things. Let's say now that you messed up. For instance, in one of the episodes, Molly is running Issa's moment. She has been working so hard to throw that block party, who seems dope. I would love to go there. And Molly is pissed about some random shit, and she decides to come at this time to not to talk, but to yell, I guess, at Issa's in some ways, and to blame her for some shit.
Nigga, you stay needing one little ass favor.
Why are you doing this at my event right now?
And okay, I understand that maybe she had a point, and maybe, okay, her point was valid, but to do this at this exact time in a public configuration was a bad idea. It's a bad idea for two reasons. First, because when you are surrounded by people and you're having an argument, it's like when you are watching TV and there is a political debate. Of course, it's a show. People are not there to listen to the other person and trying to see and understand his point or her point. They're trying to fight.
Is it that serious?
Hey, we don't gotta do this, guys. We were just having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I was...
And to see who's gonna be winning. And it's just an ego story. It's nothing else. So when you are surrounded by people, when people are watching and listening, of course you're gonna play it like you're the cool person. And if you feel hurts, then you're gonna hurt back and you're gonna strike hard. And in this episode, that's what they did. It was so harsh and people were coming around and gathering around. And it was so intense and so humiliating at some point for both of them, because they are like having this argument in front of everybody, and plus using personal and intimate things that they've been sharing to each other in public.
Fuck you.
Fuck me, I've been stopped fucking with you.
I should have dropped your line ass a long time ago. You still the same selfish bitch you always been.
Molly, get your finger out of my fucking
What you gonna
face.
do? What's she reaching for?
That's a recipe for disaster. So, if you have an argument and people are around, you have two options. You can decide just to flight, like in the fight or flight mode, decide to flight. So you say, okay, this is not nor the time nor the space to have this conversation. I'm not gonna have it right now. We can do it later, but I'm not gonna do that in public. So then you flight. Or you can decide to be in mode like, okay, she is attacking me, so I need to protect myself. So, okay, the body is going to be in fight or flight mode. The adrenaline and cortisol are going to be running through your vein, and you're going to be tense, and you're going to be, okay, I am going to fight you, and I don't care if I love you, but I'm going to say shit that's going to put you down. This is the worst. Just don't do that. First of all, it's embarrassing, and then it's gonna hurt you more after. So just take your time, take a breath, go away, and then when you're in a more proper situation, talk about what's going on. And finally, the main thing that I think Issa and Molly don't know how to do, because we as humans don't know how to do it. I feel like no one knows how to apologize, because yes, guys, it's a skill and it's something that you need to learn. I think if you want like really fulfilling relationship, it's part of the emotional intelligence to know how to apologize. And I didn't know that until like last month when I was listening to Brené Brown and a Harriet Lerner podcast about the art of apologizing. Harriet Lerner, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, she is a therapist and she wrote that book, Why Don't You Apologize? And she explained the way to make a good apology. And believe me, guys, we have a lot to learn.
I'm sorry.
I will really recommend you to, well, buy the book if you can on Audible or anything where you can buy books, or just follow her on Instagram. I will put the information in the description below. And in one of our latest posts, she explained what is a good apology. And I wanted to share some bits with you so you can understand what maybe, I hope, Issa and Molly are going to be doing in the next episodes. First, a true apology does not include the word but. So if Molly comes to Issa saying,
I'm sorry I ruined your block party, but you went too far by asking my boyfriend to ask blah 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 blah,
then this is not a real apology. So think about it. Never put a but. You are sorry for blah blah blah. That's it. Second of all, a true apology keeps the focus on your actions and not the other person's response. Basically, it means that you are not going to say, I am sorry if you felt hurt. It's not that, like, what the fuck? I mean, no. I am sorry if you felt judged. That's not how you say it. You say, I'm sorry for judging you. I'm sorry for saying that. Don't blame the person for her or his sensitivity. It's not a real apology. Don't do that. A good apology includes an offer of reparation or restitution that fits the situation. For instance,
I'm sorry if I broke your phone and I will make sure to buy you a new one.
Because it's a restitution or it's a reparation. And some people are sensitive towards that kind of apology. So have that in mind. A true apology does not get caught up in who's more to blame or who started it. Between Issa and Molly, I think that's the main thing where they might be falling because they're gonna try to identify whose fault is this whole situation and who started it. But I think it's have been there for so long, I don't even know if they will be able to see that. So it's not the point of knowing who's wrong. The point is, are we going to be able to make it through this? Are we going to be able to survive this? Are we going to be able to make love the most important thing in our relationship and find a way to move forward? A true apology requires that you do your best to avoid a repeat performance. Basically, okay, you did shit, it happens, we all do that. Then make sure you don't do it again, because that's a disrespect situation or behavior. So make sure that you understand and now you have to practice it. Don't do it again because you know it hurts the person you love. And last but not least, a true apology does not ask the hurt party to do anything, not even to forgive. So it's not because you say I'm sorry or you ask for forgiveness that the person in front of you have to give it to you. It's not. And that part hurts the most because sometimes you're like, okay, I'm going to put my ego aside and I'm going to do the right thing. And hopefully the person in front of me is going to be there to accept me. And it can feel like rejection when the person is like, okay, well, no. Okay, but no, I think you've been too far. And that's hard. That's really hard. But it happens. At least you did that. And at least you know that you are someone who has integrity and who he's aware enough that he can mess up so he can apologize. And I think it's so important. So I hope Issa and Molly are going to be able to maybe apply one of those apology techniques to get through that, because I mean, their sisterhood is so bomb, guys. I mean, it's as beautiful as the way they are dressed in this show. So I really hope it's gonna go better, really. So I'm waiting on that on next Monday. In the meantime, I just think about those parts in your relationship and how you can improve them. I think you can improve any kind of relationship, and it just requires you to think about it and not to be passive about it and not to think that, oh, this is the way it is, so this is the way we have always been. No, you can change that. You can really have fulfilled relationship. I believe in it and I think you deserve it. And for me, I have that in my life right now. So I will never go back to a situation where I was acting like Issa and Molly. I will never do that. I will try to do my best to cherish the relationships that I have. It also means that I have to be able to control my emotions, and it's something that we've been talking a little bit in this podcast. So, because sometimes anger is so powerful that you just want to destroy everything.
Did he just say we couldn't have dessert?
That's anger. He cares very deeply about things being fair.
So that's how you want to play it, old man? No dessert? Oh, sure. We'll eat our dinner right after you eat this. Ah!
And it's even more powerful when you are angry not because of the person in front of you, but because you are angry in general in your life. And I feel that, for instance, with Molly, and we can see that in the last episode, that she's really dealing with a lot of things, a lot of issues, which means that a lot of relationships for her are a place where she feels disrespected. And in many ways, she's right, she's disrespected, but there is something for her to work on. And spoiler alert, she decided to call back her therapist, which is one of the most important points that I think is conveyed in Insecure. And that's also why I love Issa Rae so much, that she's talking about mental health, and especially for our Black community in the US or also here in France and in Africa. It's not something that we do. And it's really bad because we are going through a lot of things. We are going through a lot of hurt, anger, misunderstanding, grief, shame, blame. It's a lot. And if we don't think that our mental health is important and as important as our physical health, then that's when it's hard for us to have nice relationship with people because we are hurting too much. I love this show so much. And to be honest, one of my dreams is to work with Issa Rae one day. And I'm sure I'm gonna make it happen in some ways. So Issa, if you're listening, I'm here. And if you are listening, dear podcast listener, thank you for just staying here until the end of this podcast. It really means a lot to me. I am all up in the toilet because that's the quietest place that I have, even though it's like 65 degrees here. But I'm happy because I just finished this episode. I hope it helped you. And what I'm going to ask you right now is to share it with someone that you think is going to be interested in this episode and in this particular topic. And maybe it can be a nice conversation starter. Maybe you want to improve your relationship and then you listen to the podcast together and then you talk about those things. I hope it's going to work and help. And in the meantime, follow me on Instagram, ValerieDJMS, and Lejoums, LESDJOUMS. And all the podcasts are available on upgradepodcast.paris. That's pretty much for me. Thank you very much. That was Valerie for Amulet Podcast. Bye.